What's up, guys? It's Casiecasem here with Change the Face of Depression. This is our weekly book reading. I decided that I was going to go to chapter 1 and start there. This is actually, I went to the art walk. So tonight is, what is today? Thursday. Today's Thursday. I went and hung out with my dad for a little bit. He taught me how to change a tire. That was incredible. I'm 32. Had no idea how to do that. I've always had somebody else do it for me until it came to the point where I needed help and we realized, wow, didn't know how to change a tire. I didn't know how to put air in a tire. I don't really quite know how to swim very well either. I figured that out. Anyways, so I went to Art Walk last night and that was so cool. That was very cool. That was different. I've never been. I had no idea what it was about. I had an idea about what it was about, but not what I thought that it was. So that was incredible. I hope to get a booth out there eventually. That's an awesome goal to market and network. There's so many different genres of talent. There was even like a short film production company that was out there. That was pretty cool. So while I was out Art Walk, I had an old friend come up to me. I hope you're watching this. Hi. And he told me how cool this was. So I was like, wow, there's one. So, we figured out this is pretty fun to just plug your headphones in and just listen. I'm going to read this book, The Complete Writings of Florence, Scovel, Shinn for Women, one chapter at a time, her ageless wisdom for today. Just bear with me because reading an entire chapter out loud is something that we're just going to have a learning curve for. But this book has really made a big imprint on my mentality. It's helped me to kind of, we were talking last night. So everything that you put into your mind, like I said in my previous video, it takes one negative action to destroy 7 positives. And it takes 7 positives to destroy 1 negative. So the more that you're putting into your mind, the more negativity that you're putting into your mind on a constant basis, may it be what you watch on television, the music that we listen to on mainstream. Do you listen to the lyrics? Do you hear them? Like Bad at Love and the other song, Him and I. Do you listen to those lyrics? They're horrible. I'm just putting that out there. So anyways, instead of listening to the mainstream crap that's on television and the radio all the time, I have been listening to motivational videos every day on the way to work. Every day. And if I get whatever on the way home and I'm in traffic, it's awesome to just tune out and listen to some positivity all the time. You feed your brain. It's a different level. It's just resetting. We've been doing it this way for so long. Here we are in this rut. It's time for us to build it back up. So we're going to start doing this. This is chapter 1. I'm going to the official chapter 1. Like I said, I was on chapter 11, but you know what? I'm going to go backwards and we're going to do this one by one. Like I said previously, this book, I was given this book from Chamblin, bookmine. This is from, I haven't even read her biography yet. This was copyrighted in 1996 and then again in 2003. And this was by Florence, Scovel, Shinn. She published it in 1925. There's actually 4 different books in this one book. It's The Game of Life and How to Play It, which is the first one that we're doing. I haven't read at all any of the other sectors or any of the other book chapters for this book. We're still in The Game of Life and How to Play It. So the very first chapter in that book is The Game. That's what we're going to read today. The second is Your Word is Your Wand, The Secret Door to Success, and the power of the spoken word. These are all kind of supposed to be a more philosophical version of a dumbing down of karma and the Bible and how everything comes full circle, and it kind of teaches you how to do a how-to for positivity and keeping you in the right frame of mind and bringing you an abundance of whatever it is that you desire. So, all right, it's been great for me so far, so I figured we would try to read it, and I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on it, so let's give it a go. Chapter 1, The Game. All power is given to each woman to bring her heaven upon her earth through right thinking. This is the goal of the game of life. Most people consider life a battle, but it is not a battle. It's a game. It is a game, however, that cannot be played successfully without the knowledge of spiritual law. The Old and the New Testaments give the rules of the game with wonderful clearness. Jesus Christ taught that it was a great game of giving and receiving. Whatsoever a woman soweth, that she shall also reap. This means that whatever a woman sends out to the world or deed will return to her. What she gives, she will receive. If she gives hate, she will receive hate. If she gives love, she will receive love. If she gives criticism, she will receive criticism. If she lies, she will be lied to. If she cheats, she will be cheated on. We are taught also that the imaging faculty plays a leading part in the game of life. Keep thy heart, or imagination, with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. That's Proverbs 4:23. This means that what a woman imagines, sooner or later, externalizes in her affairs. I know of someone who feared a certain disease. It was a very rare disease and difficult to get, but she pictured it continuously and read about it until it manifested in her body. She died, the victim of distorted imagination. So we see, to successfully play the game of life, we must train the imagining faculty. A person with an imaging faculty trained to imagine only good brings into her life every righteous desire of her heart: health, wealth, love, friends, perfect self-expression, her highest ideas. The imagination has been called the scissors of the mind, and it is ever cutting, day by day, the pictures of a woman where she sees there, and sooner or later she meets her own creations in her outer world. To train the imagination successfully, a woman must understand the workings of her mind. The Greeks said, "Know thyself." There are 3 departments of the mind: the subconscious, conscious, and superconscious. The subconscious is simply power without direction. It is like steam or electricity, and it does what it is directed to do. There is no power of induction. Whatever a woman feels deeply or imagines clearly is impressed upon her subconscious mind and carried out in the minutest detail. For example, a woman I know, when a child, always made believe she was a widow. She dressed up in a black clothes and wore a long black veil, and people thought she was very clever and amusing. She grew up and married a man with whom she was deeply in love. In a short time he died, and she wore black and a sweeping veil for many years. The picture of herself as a widow was impressed upon her subconscious mind, and in due time worked itself out, regardless of the havoc it created. The conscious mind has been called the mortal, or carnal mind. It is the human mind and sees life as it appears to be. It sees death, disaster, sickness, poverty, and limitation of every kind. It impresses the subconscious. The superconscious mind is the God mind within each of us and is the realm of perfect ideas. In it is the perfect pattern, spoken of by Plato, or the divine design. There is a divine design for each person. There is a place that you are to fill that no one else can fill, something you are to do which no one else can do. There is a perfect picture of this in the superconscious mind. It usually flashes across the conscious in an unattainable ideal, something too good to be true. In reality, it is a woman's true destiny, or destination, flashed to her from the infinite intelligence to which is within herself. Many people, however, are in ignorance of their true destinies, and are striving for things and situations that do not belong to them, and would only bring failure and dissatisfaction if attained. For example, a woman came to me and asked me to speak of the word that she may marry a certain person with whom she was very much in love, whom she called AB. I replied that this would be a violation of spiritual law, but that I would speak the word for the right person, the divine selection, the person who belonged to her by divine right. I added, if AB is the right person, you can't lose, and if not, you will receive an equivalent. She saw AB frequently, but no headway was made in their friendship. One evening she called and said, "Do you know for at least a week, AB hasn't seemed so wonderful to me?" I replied, "Maybe AB is not the divine selection. Another person may be the right one." Soon after that, she met someone who fell in love with her at once and who said that she was his ideal. In fact, he said that all the things that she had always wished AB would say to her. She remarked, "It was quite uncanny," and soon returned his love and lost all interest in AB. This shows the law of substitution. The right idea was substituted for a wrong one. Therefore, there was no loss or sacrifice involved. Jesus Christ said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." And he said the kingdom was within. The kingdom is the realm of right ideas, or the divine pattern. Jesus Christ thought that our words play a leading part in the game of life. By your words ye are justified, and by your words ye are condemned. Many people have brought disaster into their own lives through idle words. For example, a woman once asked me why her life was now one of poverty and limitation. Formerly she had a home that was surrounded by beautiful things, but she had often tired of the management of her home, and she said repeatedly, "I'm sick and tired of things. I wish I lived in a trunk." She added, "Today I'm living in that trunk." She had spoken herself into a trunk. The subconscious mind has no sense of humor, and people often joke themselves into unhappy experiences. For example, a woman who had a great deal of money joked continually about getting ready for the poorhouse. In a few years, she was almost destitute, having impressed the subconscious mind with a picture of lack and limitation. Fortunately, the law works both ways, and a situation of lack may be changed into one of plenty. For example, a woman came to me one hot summer's day for a treatment in prosperity. She was worn out, dejected, and discouraged. She said she possessed just $8 in the world, and I said, "Good. We'll bless the $8 and multiply them as Jesus Christ multiplied the loaves and the fishes." For he taught that everyone had the power to bless and to multiply, to heal and to prosper. She asked, "What shall I do next?" I replied, "Follow intuition. Have you a hunch to do anything or go anywhere?" Intuition means to be taught from within. It is a woman's inurging guide, and I will deal more fully with its laws in a following chapter. The woman replied, "I don't know. I seem to have a hunch to go home. I've just enough money for airfare." Her home was in a distant city, and the reasoning mind or intellect would have said, "Stay in New York and get work and make some money." I replied, "Then go home. Never violate a hunch." I spoke the following words for her. I told her to repeat it continually also. "Infinite Spirit, open the way for great abundance for me." She is an irresistible magnet for all the belongings to her by divine right. She left for home immediately, and calling on a woman one day, she linked up with an old friend of her family. Through this friend, she received thousands of dollars in a most miraculous way. She has said to me often, "Tell people about the woman who came to you with $8 and a hunch." There's always plenty on a woman's pathway. but it can only be brought into manifestation through desire, faith, or the spoken word. Jesus Christ brought out clearly that you must make the first move. Ask, and it shall be given unto you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. That's Matthew 7:7. In the scriptures we read, concerning the works of my hands, command ye me. Infinite intelligence, God is ever ready to carry out our smallest and greatest commands. Every desire uttered or unexpressed is a demand. We are often startled by having a wish suddenly fulfilled. For example, one Easter, having seen many beautiful rose trees in the florist's windows, I wished I would receive one, and for an instant I saw it immediately being carried in the door. Easter came, and with it a beautiful rose tree. I thanked my friend the following day and told her it was just what I had wanted. She replied, "I didn't send you a rose tree. I sent you lilies." The florist had mixed the order and sent me a rose tree simply because I had started the law in action, and I had to have a rose tree. Nothing but fear and doubt stands between a woman and her highest ideals and every desire of her heart. A woman can wish without worrying. Every desire will be instantly fulfilled. I will explain more fully in a following chapter the scientific reason for this and how fear must be erased from the consciousness. It is your only enemy. Fear of lack, fear of failure, fear of sickness, fear of loss, and a feeling of insecurity on some plane. Jesus Christ said, "Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith?" That's Matthew 8:26. So we can see that we must substitute fear with faith. For fear is only introverted faith. It is fear and evil instead of good. The object of the game of life is to see clearly one's good and to obliterate all mental pictures of evil. This must be done by impressing the subconscious mind with the realization of good. A very brilliant woman who has attained great success told me that she had suddenly erased all fear from her consciousness by reading a sign that hung in her room. She saw printed in large letters this statement: "Why worry? It will probably never happen." These words were stamped indelibly on her subconscious mind. She now has a firm conviction that only good can come into her life. Therefore, only good can manifest. In the following chapter, I will deal with the different methods of impressing the subconscious mind. It is everyone's faithful servant, but one must be careful to give it the right orders. A woman has ever a silent listener at her side, her subconscious mind. Every thought, every word is impressed upon it and carried out in amazing detail. It is like a singer recording a song. Every note and tune of the singer's voice is registered. If she coughs or hesitates, it is registered also. So let us break all the bad recordings of the subconscious mind, the recordings of our lives that we do not wish to keep, and make new and beautiful ones. Speak these words aloud with power and conviction. I now erase and eliminate by my spoken word every untrue recording in my subconscious mind. They shall return to the dust heap of their native nothingness, for they come from my own vain imaginings. I now make my perfect recordings through the Christ within, the recordings of health, wealth, love, and perfect self-expression. This is the square of life, the game completed. In the following chapters, I will show you how you can change your conditions by changing your words. Any woman who does not know the power of the word is behind the times. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. That's Proverbs 18:21. All right, that chapter was, again, the game, the very first chapter in the complete writings of Florence Scovel Shinn for women. Her ageless women, if I'll ever get that right, her ageless wisdom for today. That leads me to a wraparound. Okay, this is so funny, but truly, my dad had this saying he would always tell me all the time a couple of things. Number one, live in the dream. Live in the dream, live in the dream, live in the dream, live in the dream. That's his motto. Every time you ask him how he's doing, he's living the dream. Why? Because he's speaking it. He's manifesting it. He's living the dream. Really. He's taking it day by day. Got a job, got a house, got food, got a working vehicle, got a family. He's living the dream. And then secondly, there was something that he used to get on to me, not until I became really an adult. And it was to say I apologize, as opposed to saying I'm sorry. When you say I'm sorry, going back to that previous paragraph where it was talking about your subconscious doesn't know the difference between being sarcastic and being serious. It has no monotone of a differential of how you're expressing your verbiage. It just hears what you say. So when you say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, that's you saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, like I'm a sorry person, instead of saying, oh, I apologize. Does that make sense? It's a very difficult habit to break, but once you break it, and you just, every time you want to say, I'm sorry, you say, I apologize. It's so different. It makes a difference. It makes a great difference. And again, I can't tell you how many times my anxiety would cause me to imagine the absolute worst case scenario. The absolute worst case scenario. And because of that, I would have a plan A, B, C. I was putting more faith into fear. Even reading horoscopes, I didn't even think about this until I had a friend mention it to me. It's a horror scope. I stopped reading them, and I just tried to continually filter just positivity, positivity, positivity. And it's so funny because even the other night, like I was just in a cranky mood. I was a horrible mood. And I bent down and I hit my head on the top of the oven door. And I was like, instant karma. That's what this is. Instant karma. All right, I've had the worst attitude. I need to turn it around now. All right, thank you for instant karma. You humble me. I appreciate it. But it's so true. When you're in this depressive mind state, it's because you're continually feeding that negativity. Everyone has two wolves. Like Matthew McConaughey, it was an awesome speech. I listened to it. Everybody has two wolves, like a good angel and a bad angel. And the one that you feed the most is the one that's going to have the most strength. So the more that you sit here and you feed that negativity and you listen to those horrible lyrics and you're just constantly listening to just down, 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 and you agree to stay in that bed. You agree not to go. You make plans and you cancel them because you don't feel like going. And you just kind of sit there and pine. You just don't want to get up and do anything. You just manifest into that depression. You've got to reset. It's a reset of thinking. It's a reset of your mentality. Feed positivity. Feed positivity. And that's how to play the game. The more you speak it, the more it comes into life. Whatever you put out, you're going to reap whatever you sow. If you're constantly putting positivity out there, you're going to get positivity back. If you're constantly bickering and gossiping and judging, you're going to get it back. All of it comes full circle. So that was tonight's lesson. Think about it and see if you can't make a radical change just by realizing, you're absolutely right. Whatever I'm sitting here saying, all this trash that I'm letting influence me is this trash that I'm bringing back out. You're absolutely right. So anyways, give it a go. I'd love to hear from you guys. Until next time, bye.